Hi guys, welcome back again to the channel. Today we are making this beautiful gown. So if you're interested, please continue watching. Make sure you watch the video to the end so you won't miss out of any important information. So guys, with that being said, let's get started. I'll be using this material, this fabric for the gown. This is crepe material. So I'm going to draft with this pattern paper so that everybody can see it. So guys, please go ahead and give this video a like. Give this video a like so that other people can see it as well and watch, to support the ministry. Thank you so much. And if you are new, please go ahead and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell to be notified anytime I upload a new video. So guys, I'm going to cut the upper part first. The first thing I'm going to do is to mark out my starting point. The next thing I'll be doing is to measure 4.5 inches for the front overlap. 4.5 inches. I'm actually using my bust span for this particular one. My bust span is 8 divided by 2, 4. I just added half inch to serve as allowance. So 4.5 inches. After marking the 4.5 inches for my front overlap, I'll take the length of the half length. For the half length, I'm going to make use of 16 inches. That will be the length. And then I'll add 1 inch for allowance, joining allowance, making it 17 inches. Can you see what we have here? This is for my overlap. This is the length and this is the shoulder line. So guys, all my measurement is going to start here from this line. I'll add my shoulder measurement on the shoulder line. My shoulder measurement is 16 divided by 2, 8. The neck width for this style is going to be 3.5. Then I'll slop the shoulder by 1 inch and connect to the neck width. So I'll add my armhole depth now. My armhole depth is 8 inches. Then I mark. To get your armhole depth, as usual, measure your round armhole and divide by 2. Or your bust measurement divide by 6. Whatever you have, you add 1.5 inches to that to get your armhole depth. Now the next thing is to draw my armhole curve. And to do that, I'm going to come to the armhole depth and insert my bust circumference, which is 39. But 39 divided by 4 will give me 9.75, which is here. So I'm going to draw my line to that point. It's as simple as that. So I'll take the midpoint of the armhole depth, which is 4. 8 divided by 2, 4. And I'll go in by half an inch. I'll draw my armhole curve now. This is the front armhole. Having gotten the armhole, the next step is to add my circumference measurement. I've gotten my bust measurement. I'll come to this place, which is the length, and add my waist measurement. So 34 divided by 4 will give me 8.5. I'm going to add 2 inches allowance. 2 inches allowance is okay. And to the bust measurement, I'll still add 2 inches allowance. I will not add that to this particular one. So there's no need for that allowance. So I'll connect the point. So this is the bodice. The next step is to add my neckline. The neck depth, I've added my neck width, 3.5. The neck depth for this style is going to be 7.5 inches. So if you want, you can go lower than that or you can go higher. The choice is actually yours. So I'm going to draw my V neckline. So the next step is to extend this line to this point for the overlap. To do that, I'll first of all remove my 1 inch sewing allowance, which is here. So I'm going to take this line to this 1 inch. So we're actually done with this. I'm going to cut it out and then we'll cut the back part. So go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you have not done that. Thank you so much. So I'll cut it out now. So guys, before I cut the shoulder, I want to add my shoulder allowance here, so that I will not add any allowance when cutting with the fabric. So I'll connect my shoulder allowance. This is to join the back and front at the shoulder. This is the front part. I'll show you how to cut it because this is going to be 2 in number. So I'll set it aside while we cut the back side. To cut the back side, I'll mark out my starting point as well. The next thing is to mark my zipper allowance. I'll be making use of 2 inches for zip allowance. The length is going to be 16 plus 1 inch for joining allowance, 17. I'll add my shoulder measurement, which is 8, neck width 3.5. I'll slop the shoulder. So armhole depth is 8, then I mark. At that point, I'll measure my bust circumference, which is 9.75, which is here. So I'll draw out my lines. So for the back armhole, I'll just make my curve straight away. I'll not go in by 1/2 inch. So this is for the back. The next thing I'm going to do before adding the circumference measurement is to remove the zip bulge at the back, at the zip side. I'm going to come here and measure 1/2 inch to eliminate the zip bulge at the back side, so that the zip is going to lap very well at the back side. So from this 1/2 inch, I will measure out my 2 inches zipper allowance now. So can you see what I have now? So I'm going to cut this one off. The zipper allowance is no longer straight up. So it's very important to do that when you are making a fitted dress. The next thing is to add my dart. The back is going to have dart, while the front will not have that. To create my dart, I'll be making use of my bust span. My bust span is 8. That is the measurement from one bust to the other bust. 8 divided by 2, 4, plus 1/2 inch sewing allowance, 4.5, which is here. To get the length of the dart, I'm going to measure my bust point. Bust point for me is 10. From this bust point, I'm going to go up by 3 inches. 3 inches and mark. This is where my dart is going to stop. So guys, having gotten the dart, the next step is to add my circumference measurement. So this is what I have. By the time I hold this dart, the shape is going to balance very well. So the next thing I'll be doing is to add my neckline. I've added my neck with 3.5. The neck depth for the back is going to be 1.5. I'll be adding my shoulder allowance of 1/2 inch. So this is for the back bodice. I'm going to cut it out now. So guys, we're going to cut the down part, which is the skirt part. I'll be making use of this paper. I'll fold this paper into 2. So we are cutting the front part. I'll use it, and after that I'll use it to cut the back part, if that makes sense. So for the down part, I'm going to remove my half length, which is 16. This is 16 inches, representing my half length. This space that you see here will be my sewing allowance, the allowance to join to the half length. Do you understand? So from there I'll mark the length of the gown. The length of the gown for me is 45. I'll be adding 2 inches there for hemming allowance. So I'll be marking 47 instead of 45. So I'm going to mark this point as my waistline. So I have my waistline now. The next vertical measurement I'll be adding is my hip line. From the waistline to my hip line is 9 inches. So I have waistline, hip line, and the length. I'll be adding my horizontal measurement now. That is round waist measurement and round hip measurement. So guys, my round waist measurement is 34. 34 divided by 4 is 8.5, which is here. The front part will not have that, but I'm going to be adding that at the back side. Do you understand? Coming to the hip line here, my hip measurement is 43. Now we are drafting the front part of the skirt. I'm going to minus 1 inch from the hip measurement. 43 minus 1 will give us 42. I'll be working with 42. I'm going to add this 1 inch to the back part, because the back part has the hip. To help the hip at the back to balance very well and bring out the nice shape. Do you understand? So I'll be working with 42 instead of 43. But later we'll add this 1 inch to the back part, just like I explained. So 42 divided by 4 will give us 10.5. 10.5, then I mark. Can you see? 10.5. So coming to this down part, I'm going to remove 2 inches from my hip measurement and place it here. I have 10.5 here. 10.5 minus 2 will give us 8.5. So I'm going to add 8.5 here. So I'll connect my points, waistline, hip line, and the length of the skirt. There's no allowance yet. I'm going to add my sewing allowance while cutting on the fabric. I will cut the back part before we modify the front part. So I've folded my fabric into 2. The next step is to place the front part on it. So the next thing I'll be doing is to add that allowance of 1 inch and 2 inches sewing allowance. So here I'll add 2 inches sewing allowance. So this side is done. Coming to this side, the hip allowance is going to be 2 inches. So I'll come to the hip line and I'll be adding this 1 inch. That 1 inch I removed from the hip measurement. So I'm going to measure 2.5 inches here instead of 2 inches hip allowance. The half inch there will serve as 1 inch. This 1 inch. 1 divided by 2 is half. And this is 2 because I folded it 2. So I'll be adding half inch here. So here will be 2.5. While other places will be 2 inches. The waist will be 2 inches. And the down part here is also going to be 2 inches. I will notch this side to serve as a guide, you know, for us not to mistake this side. So after cutting the back side, we are going to continue with the front side because it has pleats at the front side. So for us to get that pleat, I'm going to do a splash and spread method. This method is actually very easy for you to do that skirt. You understand? So I'll open the skirt, the front side like this. After opening it, the next step is to come here and mark along this side. I'll mark 5.5 inches. 5.5 inches. It depends on how slanted you want the pleat to be. So this side is 5.5 inches. This side is going to be 3 inches. So I'll come here and measure 3 inches here. So I'm going to connect the 2 points like this. If you want it more slanted, you increase the inches here or reduce the inches here. But this is how I want it. After that, I'm going to measure 2 inches and mark 2 inches and mark. So I'll connect the point. I'll mark 2 inches until I get 5 lines. So guys, now I have 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My pleat is going to be 5 in number. That's why I marked 5 lines. So I will label it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Can you see what I did? So after labeling it, the next step is to cut it out. So guys, we are going to cut the front part of the skirt. And I have my material folded into 2. What I have here is my hip measurement 10.5 plus extra 6 inches. This will be enough for the front part, including the sewing allowance. We are going to be making use of this to achieve the pleats at the front part of the skirt. So I've already ironed it to get the center line. So this is the center line. And you know the material is by 60. The length is by 60. So it will be enough for the pleats. So I'll start placing the pieces according to their numbers. I'll start with number 1, which is this one. I'm going to place it such that this line, this center line here, is going to rhyme with this center line of the fabric. So I'll place it like this and I'll pin. After placing number 1, the next thing I'm going to do is to measure 4 inches. 4 inches from that point. and place number 2. I'm going to measure 4 inches following the slanted line. So on this line, I'll place number 2. I'm going to measure 4 inches and place all the pieces. Okay? So guys, I'm done placing the pieces according to their numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So please make sure that when you are placing it, you won't turn the number upside down. So guys, I'm going to do the pleating now. As I pleat, I'm going to be adjusting the paper to match each other very well. And what I have here is 4 inches, 4 inches, 4 inches, 4 inches, and 4 inches. I'll start from here to pleat. So I'll bring this to this, like this. So take your time, please don't rush it. You gently bring it together, like this. So I'm done with this. The next is to bring this one to this one. Do you understand? Bring this to join this. So I'm going to pleat like this. Take your time, don't rush it. So this is what I have. I will adjust this paper now. So I'll shift it a bit to run with this one, and I'll pin it back. So I'm going to pleat number 2, and after pleating, I'll adjust the paper as well. So the last but not the least, I'll pleat this one, and after which adjust the paper as well. So guys, you can actually overlap these pleats on each other. Be creative. Just play around with it, do what you want, and it's okay. Anyhow you want to pleat it is fine. Okay? This is the pleat now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 pleats. So we've gotten our pleat, our slanted pleat. So the next step is to use my pressing iron to iron it out before I remove the papers. So guys, before I remove the papers, I'm going to add my sewing allowance, 2 inches sewing allowance, and cut. So the next thing is to remove all the papers. So guys, can you see our pleats? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the next step is to use this hemming gum. I'm using this hemming gum to hold it in place before I can go and stitch, so that it will not scatter. I hope you understand. So I'm going to raise this up, place this inside, and cover it back. So once I put hemming gum, I will iron it. So the next thing I'll do now is to go over to the machine to stitch it down as well. So guys, after stitching the two sides, this is what I have. So this is the pleat. So after sewing, you go ahead and use your needle and thread to tag the back side so that it will not pull out. So guys, the next step is to cut the half length on our fabric. I'll cut this one 2 and cut this one 2. So I'm cutting it on fold. So I'll cut it off camera to save time. So guys, I've cut the upper part. I have 4 pieces here because I want to use the material for lining. So if you don't want to use material for lining, you cut 2 and then you cut lining 2 as well. I'll go over to the machine to sew this side and sew this side and turn to the right side. Give it a nice press and I'll be back. So guys, this is the upper part, the front part. After stitching, I overlap it like this and then I stitch on it to hold it. The next step is to join it to the, I'll be joining it to the skirt part. I'm going to place it like this and stitch together. So guys, I've joined the half length to the down part and we are through with the front part of the gown. So this is the back side. I have 2 pieces here. I'm going to cut out a facing for the neckline, to turn the neckline. So I will use this to turn the neckline. So guys, this is the back side. I've turned the neckline with this facing. I've given it a good press and I've picked my dart as well. And then this is the down part. I've picked my dart. So the next step is to join this, the half length to the down part. So I'll open up this side. I'm going to join this to this, making sure that the dart points align together. So guys, after joining the back side, I went ahead to shape the gown using my sewing allowance, 2 inches sewing allowance, to shape the two sides. So guys, as you can see, this side is shorter than this side because the pleat is slanted. Here, from here to here is about 12 inches. 12 inches, and then from here to here is about 14 inches. So guys, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up before you forget. So the next step is to cut my sleeve now. So guys, to cut the sleeve, I'll fold my fabric into two. The length of my sleeve is going to be 16 inches. 16 inches, I'll add 2 inches for allowance. Then coming here, I'll measure my armhole depth, which is 8. From that point, I'll come down by 4 inches for my calf side. So I have 8 inches here. So from these 8 inches, I'll draw my curve like an S shape. For a detailed tutorial on how to cut a basic sleeve, I'll leave the link in the description of this video for you to watch. From this point, I'll add 1 inch for sewing allowance. So coming to this side, my round sleeve measurement there, this is 3/4 length. So my round sleeve measurement there is 11 inches divided by 2. Give us 5.5. I'll add 1 inch for sewing allowance as well. I'm going to trim the front side by 1/2 inch. Our gown is ready. As you can see, our beautiful gown is ready. If you have a flat tummy, go ahead and try this style. It will be good on you. I'm going to put it on my mannequin for you to see it, for you guys to see it and appreciate it. You know, I don't have flat tummy. So guys, this is the end of this tutorial. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and try it out. Let me know your results in the comment section. For a detailed tutorial on how to cut a basic sleeve, I'll leave the link of the video in the description box of this video. Go ahead and click to watch to understand more. Okay? So, thank you so much for watching. Till next time, I'll see you again. For now, it is bye-bye.